Alrighty guys, in this video I'm going to go over the analysis portion of body paragraphs. And in this portion you really have to think of it like being better than a pirate. So when a pirate looks at a treasure map, they're trying to find the X, right? But when it comes to literary analysis and persuasion, the X is typically pretty obvious. The evidence that you use should point directly to the X. So you're actually going to try to search a little bit deeper than that. And another thing that I want to get across to you is in your body paragraphs, you need to have quotations and evidence, and you can watch my quotation and evidence video to get an idea of how to do that. But you have to actually analyze that quotation. Literally actually analyze something. Just putting a quotation in and then being like, see, told you, isn't going to prove anything. And it's not the point of writing. That's why we run into issues where when we start writing an essay, we completely run out of ideas. So this is probably the chunkiest part of your body paragraph, okay? And I give you 3 tips on when you go to do this. In a literary analysis, start by identifying what you are analyzing. Point at the X, meaning point at the obvious thing. What is it obviously saying? And then dig a little bit further. Number 3 is the most important thing, okay? So this is an example of a paragraph that does not have a topic sentence. It just starts with the quotation. While hiding in Juliet's garden, Romeo proclaims, "But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun." Act 2, lines 3 through 5. So identify what you're analyzing. In this instance, Shakespeare provides a metaphor directly comparing Juliet to the sun. Okay, in a literary analysis, you have to analyze some kind of literary device. And I do go over that in quotations and citations video, and I also will show you on the next page. Point at the X. Initially, this would reveal that Juliet has become the beacon of light in Romeo's light. So the obvious thing is that the sun is bright. Oh, sorry, my cat just changed the screen. Okay. The sun is bright. It shines light. It is a source of light. So he's comparing Juliet to light. That's obvious, okay? If that's all you're analyzing, you're going to run out of things to say. So now you have to dig further. What else does the sun do? It does so many things. It controls the tide. It tells us the time of day. It gives us life. It helps plants breathe. Photosynthesis. There are so many things that a sun does other than just provide light. Okay? God, my cat. Sorry. I wish you could see this right now. So when I dig further, I say, however, the sun does more than light the way. It literally provides life. Ultimately, Romeo is proclaiming that he has not known life until he knew Juliet. So now I'm taking it even further. And this reveals a lot about Romeo. This reveals about how obsessed he is with love and how jaded he can be. Like, he's straight up suggesting that his life was pointless and useless without Juliet. That's a lot bigger than just, she's the light of his life. So in a persuasion, you're going to kind of do the same thing. Except instead of identifying what you're analyzing, you identify the reason you provide that evidence, okay? Because in a persuasive essay, your evidence is pretty direct. And then the same thing, point at the X, point at the obvious, and then dig further. So again, this doesn't have a topic sentence, it just has the quotation and citation, and it says, when discussing falling in love at a young age, that should say, Dr. Carl Pickart explains that this comes at a price of periodically being very unhappy when harmony is temporarily lost or obstacles are encountered, from Psychology Today. So here's the identify the reason. Acknowledging the negative and emotionally daunting experience that is affiliated with love is imperative when discussing dating at a young age. So I'm straight up being like, yo, this is why this evidence was necessary. If we're going to talk about being in love at a young age, we have to talk about the fact that love kind of sucks sometimes. So now we want to point at the X. What is the obvious thing? What is Dr. Pickart obviously saying here? Dr. Pickart forces us to question whether or not a teenager is mentally or emotionally capable of handling these inevitable obstacles. So if he's saying, yo, love is hard, we have to remember that love is hard. Well, okay, so you're ultimately saying, like, can you handle it? Can teenagers handle this? That's pretty obvious. So how do we dig further? What does this mean that love is often unhappy when it's not harmonious, that there are obstacles encountered. What does this suggest? So I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, we don't really talk about that. We don't talk about how love is difficult. I think a lot of the people are jaded when they get into relationships, and they think it's just going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy, and then the first time it's hard, it sucks. So when I dig further, I said, furthermore, we must consider the perspective that people have about love in the first place. uh, ex- Expecting, well, I should have spell checked this, expecting a relationship to be easy or harmonious, I'm directly referring to the quotation, negates the most basic understanding of human relationships. They are not easy. Yet we have created a culture persuaded by fictitious romance, fictitious meaning fake, that leaves teenagers unprepared for the reality of love. I'm not just saying, hey, are you guys capable? Are you mentally and emotionally mature enough to handle the difficulties that come with love? I'm saying, you know what? We are at fault for this because we have created a world in which we don't even talk about it. We don't talk about how it's difficult, right? And that in turn is not preparing you. And so we do need to talk about it more. So those 3 steps are how I go about analyzing. And again, number 3 is the most important part of this. Dig further. So as a reminder, and you can watch the quotation and citation video for more information, things that you can analyze in literary analysis is any kind of figurative language, and there's like 1,000. Think metaphor, simile, personification, hyperbole, so many things. Imagery, how does it spark your senses? Diction would be word choice. So maybe I want to analyze the use of the word harmonious. Details, so anything it reveals about those 7 story elements that I have listed. Syntax is sentence structure. It's kind of like the way Yoda talks is different, right? Whereas persuasion, again, you can look at statistics, local and national news, historical facts, scientific facts, and general research. So in order to analyze something, you do have to have a quality quotation. And if you're unsure on how to find a quality quotation or what is a quality quotation, watch my quotation and citation video for more information. Okay, remember, this is the most important part of your body paragraph. Without it, you don't have a persuasion, you don't have a literary analysis. I hope this was helpful.